We are so very blessed to have a couple special guests with us on the program today. A couple of the newsmaker guests, if you will, at the recent Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show in Tampa Bay, Florida. Sean and Leigh Tuohy, and probably best well known, at least here of late, from the movie Blindside. But before we talk about that, guys, let's talk about what your message was to this year's Beef Cattle Industry Convention.
Well, I think our message was that everyone has value and potential. I mean, we try to tell people that we all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. Your twist just may a little bit be different than mine, but we all have value. And, we tell people to turn around because the person behind you could just need a little hope and opportunity. And if you give them that, you could change their life.
Now, Sean, talk about some of the lessons learned that maybe Leigh just mentioned that we all can maybe learn from the movie that was portrayed for your guys' family in Blindside.
Well, the first lesson is don't let anybody make a movie after you, but we blew that one. The second one is what's consistent, is that we firmly believe that giving is sometimes it's not a natural thing that people do. And so what we try to tell them is that when you do give, that the value and the pleasure is actually your side. I mean, the person on the other end gets a nice pair of socks, but the person giving gets the good feel of it. And we try to tell them that, if it makes you feel good, we'll do it all the time. Don't just do it at Christmas time. So that's what we try to tell them. Say, look, and it can change your life, but more importantly, it can change someone else's life. And that's all that happened to us. I mean, it was one act of kindness that repays us every single day. Michael had a good week. We've had 11 great years, and so we really believe that we were the ones that got the most out of it. He had to put up with us. That's not real easy, but we got a wonderful addition to our family that nobody deserves something that good.
Well, it was a great movie and lots of great lessons learned. Leigh, rural America wants to know. I mean, just how accurate did Hollywood portray your family in the movie Blindside?
They did a really good job. They hung around, they shadowed us. John Lee Hancock, who was a writer and director, spent a couple Christmases, a couple Thanksgivings. I mean, they were at the kids' graduations. I mean, this wasn't just them trying to figure it out from reading something or listen, or, talking to people. They actually kind of went behind us, spent time with us, an inordinate amount of time actually. So they really did a good job. Now, they did use some Hollywood licensing, but there was a lot of time. This couldn't be an epic movie. It couldn't be 7 hours. So, John Lee would take a lot of emotion that he saw and he'd put it into one scene so the audience would kind of know what was going on. I always get tickled at the scene where the ladies are eating lunch and they're asking me all these really not so nice questions. And I had friends, and I still, a couple of years removed from the movie, I'll still have people go, that wasn't me in that scene in the movie. It's just so funny. But John Lee knew what he was doing. Michael was never that bad of a football player. But he wanted to show how far Michael came in the short amount of time. So they did take some license, but the overall movie was scarily accurate.
Well, that is pretty darn good. And finally, Sean, your guys' son, Michael Orr, and of course his Raven teammates, just won the Super Bowl in New Orleans. What was his temperament before and, of course, afterwards?
It's interesting. First of all, that's his job, and nobody knows that better than Michael, and he takes it serious. I mean, he doesn't take a month off. He's in the weight room today, I'm sure, working out, not just because it's a workout day. It's because he's trying to get better. So he's incredibly prepared for his job. It's like if you studied for a math test, you can't wait to take it. So that's the way he feels about the game. So it's the opposite. The 8 days before the game, he's nervous. When the game comes, he's not nervous at all. 8 days before the game, we're not nervous at all. And when the actual game comes, she's in the bathroom and I don't see her for about 3 hours. So, he was fine. He was prepared. He couldn't wait. He knew the size of it, but it didn't scare him because he was prepared. I mean, he worked so hard at it. And if anybody deserves what's happened, I can't speak for the other 46, but I can speak for Michael that he deserved this because he's worked real hard for it.
Well, thank you, both of you, for joining us here in Tampa for the 2013 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. One of their messages during one of the general sessions was uniting and speaking with a unified voice, a good lesson for all of us, and especially the U.S. beef cattle industry.